This is the most complete tutorial on how to use Graph View in Obsidian, and we're going to cover everything in each of these sections in Graph View and Obsidian. So the first question is, what is the benefit of using the Graph View? For example, if you're a content creator, suppose that each of these nodes, for example, this one is a learning log. And as you can see, I have some nodes connected to this learning log. Or for example, here I have a book. I have some notes about this book. Here I have another book. And here, for example, this is about investing in finances. This is about YouTube growth. For example, this is about English grammar. This is about Python. For example, this is about English quizzes. This is about videography. And for example, this tiny group is about plant problems, because I remember that once I was learning about hydroponics, and that's why I created some notes about plant problems. So first of all, you can see that you have researched about some topics a lot more than some other topics. And for example, if you're a content creator or, for example, a knowledge worker, you can see that, for example, if you're a content creator, you can see that, okay, about this specific topic, I've researched a lot. There are a lot of notes around this topic. So probably I can create more stuff about this specific topic. But for example, if there is an area which you don't have that much note about that specific topic, but you do want to, for example, create content about that topic. So it means that you should take more notes and you should research more and take more notes so that you make those notes, those clusters much bigger so that you can create some content around that topic. So in my opinion, these are the main benefits of this Graph View in Obsidian. So first of all, I should open the Graph View. And for doing so, I should click on this icon, which says Open Graph View. And as you can see, this is my Graph View. And each of the nodes in this graph, and by saying nodes, I mean each of these circles that you see on this graph. Each of these nodes is actually a node in my Obsidian vault. So first of all, let's talk about these settings that you can see here. But if you don't see this window, it means you have closed it. So in order to open it again, you should click on this settings icon. And after that, you can see these settings. We want to talk about all of them. But first of all, let's start explaining with groups, because in my opinion, it's easier to explain. And then we will dive into other sections as well. So as you can see in my vault, I have some folders, and one of those folders is called Journal, which in that folder, I have some other folders, I mean some subfolders, and one of those subfolders is called Daily Notes. And suppose that I want to color all the notes in this folder as red. So let's do that. So actually, it's a group. I want to group a part of those notes, a group of those notes. So I create a new group. And as you can see, it says the color is going to be red. But if I click on it, I can change the color, but I want to keep it as it is. I want to use this red color. And I should specify, if I click on this, I should specify, okay, how I'm going to create my group. Am I going to create my group using a specific path or using a specific file? For example, maybe I want to use a specific file for my group, or maybe I want to use a specific tag for my group, and so on. So in this case, I want to use a specific path because I want to say, okay, all the things inside this folder should be considered as one group, and you should color them in red. So that's why I choose path. And then I should specify that folder. I should type the name of it. So I simply type Daily Notes. And as you can see, yeah, here I have Journal Daily Notes. As you can see, in Journal folder, I have a subfolder named Daily Notes. So I click on it. So I click somewhere else. So now as you can see, those daily notes are in red. But now let's suppose that I want to add another group. And for example, suppose that I want to color this folder in, for example, yellow, orange, or something like that. So in order to do so, I click on this new group icon. And then as you can see, it's orange. But you can change the color if you want. And I want to specify another path. So I click on path, and then I simply type Daily Notes. but this one, daily notes J. But as you can see, nothing has happened. So if you look at it, you can see we can't see those orange nodes. We only see some red nodes. And maybe you ask why. The reason is that here, when I'm passing this thing, as you can see in Obsidian, this is the path. It is typing something like this, which is actually this one. And this means that every path that starts with this text. So it is saying that whatever path that starts with this text should be colored in red. But what is the problem? The problem is that we have some other paths, such as this one, that they also start with this text. And so now it is going to color them in red too, which is not something that we want. We want to color these things as orange. So maybe you ask, okay, how can we fix this? In order to fix this, we should add a slash. And remember to add slash. I think it's a good habit to add slash at the end of each path that you want to define. And maybe you ask, okay, why adding a slash is going to fix the problem? Because when you are adding a slash, it means that, no, I'm not saying that the path should start with this. But actually, I'm saying that I want this specific folder, not any other thing that, for example, starts with this text. No, actually, I want this folder. I want this specific folder. So adding slash helps you doing this. So that's why I think it's a good habit to add slash for all of these things. So let's see that. Okay, now let's go to Obsidian and let's do that. And by the way, let's zoom in a little bit so that you can see the changes that we are going to apply. So at the end of each of these paths, I want to add a slash. So I add a slash here, and also I add a slash here. So now, as you can see, we have some nodes which are in orange. So we have fixed this problem. Okay, now let's close this groups section, and then let's go to this filters section. So now let's suppose that I want to filter. I want to only show the notes that are in daily notes folder. If I want to do so, I click on this, and then I want to choose a specific path. That path is daily notes, and remember that at the end of this path, I should add a slash. So as you can see, I have those notes that are in this daily notes folder. But now let's suppose that I want to also show the notes that are in daily notes J folder. So as you can see here, we have two paths. One path is for daily notes and the other one is for daily notes J. If you want to show both of them, any of them, any notes that are either in this folder or, remember I'm using the word or this folder. So that's very simple. If you want to do so, you should simply type this, and then you should type or and this one. It means that I want all the notes that are either in this path or in this path. And if you want to pass other paths as well, then you can do so. For example, you can say or XYZ, or for example, ABC, and so on. But now I want to use this thing, so I copy it, so I cut it, and then I go to Obsidian, and here I want to delete all of this, and I paste that thing which I cut. And now we can see all of those daily notes. The orange one are daily notes J, and the red ones are daily notes. But now maybe you ask, okay, how can we exclude these things? For example, I want all the graph except, not graphed. I want all the graph except these daily notes. So how can we do so? Again, it's so simple. We can say, okay, if you want to exclude this path, you should add a minus sign before this path. So here, if I only want to exclude these daily notes, I go to Obsidian, and here I delete all of this, and I simply paste this. And now as you can see, we don't see any of those red nodes, but we still see those orange ones. So if you want to exclude them as well, so you should do something like this. You should say, okay, I want to exclude these things as well, but you should say, okay, I want to exclude this and I want to exclude this thing as well. When you want to say and, not or, you shouldn't type anything. By default, when you put some paths after each other, it means and. It means, okay, I want to exclude this thing and this thing. So there you go. I cut this line, and let's go to Obsidian, and I delete all of these things, and I paste that. And now, as you can see, I have excluded all of those daily nodes. And by the way, there are some other toggle buttons. For example, if you turn this on, you can see the tags as well, because these white nodes are your nodes. But you can, for example, show the tags on this graph as well by turning on this toggle. I don't want to do so, so I turn it off. You can also turn on this attachments toggle button, and by doing so, you will see your attachments. And what do I mean by attachments? I mean, for example, the images that you have put and you have inserted into Obsidian. For example, the audio files and all the files that you have inserted into Obsidian, which is not something that I want, so I'm not going to do so. So I want to turn this off as well. And I will talk about existing files only later on, but let's talk about orphans. Orphans means the nodes that are not connected to other nodes. So as you can see, for example, this one is an orphan node because it is not connected to any other thing. So now you can see it is turned on. It means that yes, it is going to show those orphans as well. But if you, for example, turn it off, it is going to, it is not going to show those orphans. So there you go. But now let's talk about existing files only. What do I mean by existing files only? Here, as you can see, for example, there are some nodes, for example, like this one, which is actually a daily node. As you can see, it's a daily node. And of course, it is not in white. It is in gray. Actually, it is not showing it very visibly, but it is showing it. If you want to, as you can see, all of these nodes are in white, except those nodes that we have filtered and we said that we don't want to see those things. And those things are in gray. But maybe you say, okay, I don't want to color them in gray. I want to totally get rid of them. So in that case, you should turn this on. It says existing files only. It means that I don't want to color them in red. I just want to get rid I want to get rid of all the things that I didn't specify to show in this graph. So whatever that I set, it should be shown in this graph. Okay, show it. But otherwise, do not even color it in red. Get rid of it totally. So that's why I'm enabling this toggle button. So we have covered filters section as well. Now let's talk about the forces section. As you can see here, we have some values. The first one is center force. It means how much our data should be in center. I mean, for example, if I decrease this value, our nodes gets sparser. Our nodes goes far away from the center. But if I, for example, increase this, as you can see, the graph gets more compact. I mean, all the nodes goes to the center. So that's why we call it center force. So suppose that I want to choose something like, for example, this. And then the other one is repel force. It means how much each of these nodes should repel other nodes. And by saying that, I mean, especially those nodes that are not connected to each other. So it's very obvious that here, if I increase this value, as you can see, it gets more sparser. And if I decrease this, it gets more compact. So the default value is 10, and the link force means how strongly connected nodes pull each other. So here, as you can see, the default value is 1, but if I decrease this, as you can see, because the link force, I mean, how strongly connected nodes pull each other, gets weaker and weaker. So as you can see, there is no clear distinction between these clusters. So if you decrease it a lot, so as you can see, you can't see that much distinction between connected nodes. But if you increase this, yes, you can definitely and clearly see those clusters, those groups in your nodes. So, and here we have link distance. It means how much should be the distance between connected nodes. And the default value, as you can see, is 250. But for example, if you decrease this, it gets more compact. But if you increase that, it gets sparser. So anyway, let's put this on 250 or something around that. So let's close this forces section as well. But now let's talk about the display section, which is almost self-explanatory. So for example, here, let's go to this part of the chart. As you can see, this is about a book, and there are some notes related to it. So if I zoom a little bit more, you can see I have, for example, this note. If I turn on this arrows toggle button, you can see now I can see some arrows. It means that there are two other nodes that are linking into this node. And also, from this node, we are linking to some other stuff. For example, to this one, and so on. So this is the meaning of those arrows and the direction of them. But I don't want these arrows, so I turn this off. And also the other things are self-explanatory. For example, text fade threshold. If you increase that a lot, you can't see those texts. Node size, again, it's self-explanatory. You can change the node size. You can change the link thickness. So these are self-explanatory. I mean, the things in the display section is self-explanatory. And also, if you want to animate your graph, you can click on this, and it is going to animate your graph. I mean, from the start that you started taking notes all the way up to today. But I don't want to wait for these nodes to be animated. So let's continue our discussion. If I want to restore all of these settings, I can click on this, restore settings. And by the way, when you click on this, for example, the things that you have entered in the filters section, it is not going to apply them. It is not going to delete them. This thing is going to restore all the stuff except this filters. It is also going to restore the groups. As you can see, it has deleted all of the groups, and also it has restored all the settings that you have applied in the display section and forces section, but it does not delete the things that you enter in the filters section. And if you want to close this window, you can click on this close icon. And then if you want to open it again, you can click on this. And also this magic wand is for starting the animation from the beginning. So if I click on it, you can see it starts that animation. If I click on it again, it starts from the beginning of that animation. Anyway, and maybe say, okay, how can we close this animation? So in order to do so, you should close the graph view. And once again, if you open it, you can see now you have your entire graph view.